It is always an interesting thing to see when a relatively small city has an impressive tram system. Poland has quite a few of those cities, and Gorzów Wielkopolski is one of those. Its 114,000 inhabitants are served by 4 tram lines, with a good level of service. In more than any tram system that is as old as the one in Gorzów, it has faced and overcome threats of closure. So let's dive into the story of this tram system. Gorzów Wielkopolski has quite an old tram system, as the first tram started operations all the way back in 1899. At this point, Gorzów was still part of Germany, and the system was operated by electric trams from the very start. The network grew quickly, but ran into financial issues in 1922. It was closed for almost 2 years, until operations were restarted. In 1926, the system expanded further, and crossed the Warta River on a new bridge. For a while, the system ran normally, until the arrival of trolleybuses in 1943, which replaced the tram on some sections. At the end of World War II, it even came to a full closure of the tram system. But once again, the tram made a comeback, again 2 years later. From 1947, lines were gradually reopened. And the trolleybuses? Well, they stopped their service on the same day as the trams, but never made their return. In 1955 and later in the early 1970s, the tram system was expanded, slowly forming the tram system as we know it today. But before we get to the system of today, we will need to get through some more twists in the history of Gorzów's tram. In 2007, the mayor of Gorzów proposed to close a section of the network, as he liked to see a pedestrian zone along Dobrego Street, which somewhat acts like a main street for the city. A quite ridiculous proposal if you ask me, as trams are simply the best in operating in these zones, and many cities do so. Anyways, the residents and the city council disagreed strongly with their mayor, and the proposal got struck down. But it was not the last time that the system was about to face closure. In 2011, it was the public transport company itself that proposed the closure of the system, as it was becoming increasingly costly to operate the then nearly 45-year-old trams. This proposal was also met with protest and a petition, and was eventually scrapped. The network was reformed and would stop operations on a very short section to the train station. But it stayed, and plans were formed to revitalize and renew the system. The entire network got renewed, requiring a full closure from October 2017 to July 2020. But it reopened, and importantly, a fleet of new trams was delivered. In 2023, the system even received a short extension, bringing the tramline closer to a shopping mall. And in 2024, the short section to the railway station was reopened. Which brings us to the network of today. This is the tram system of Gorzów Wielkopolski. It is around 12.5 kilometers long and uses the standard gauge of 1435 mm. Trams are powered by 600-volt DC overhead wires, and the system uses one depot. Let's now take a look at the lines. Line 1 runs between Vieprzyczce PKP and Fieldowa. It requires bidirectional trams, as the terminus at Fieldowa does not have a turning loop. Line 2 runs between Vieprzyczce PKP and Piaski. This line does have turning loops in both ends, so on this line you can find unidirectional trams. Line 3 runs between Piaski and Fieldowa. And finally, Line 4 runs between Dworzec Główny and Fieldowa. Line 1, 2 and 3 form the basis of the network and have their timetables aligned with each other. For every branch, this provides a 10-minute interval outside of peak hours, on weekdays and Saturdays. On Sundays, this forms a 50-minute interval. Line 4 runs roughly every hour, but not all day long. This video about the tram system of Gorzów Wielkopolski is part of an already 52 episode long series of videos of transport systems. I would love to show you many more in the future, and therefore it would be really helpful if you like my video and subscribe to my channel. Let's now take a look at the tram fleet. The tram fleet of Gorzów is quite interesting. with second-hand trams that are nearly 60 years old, alongside modern trams that are 10 times younger. The oldest types in the fleet are the 6Z GTW and the 6E GTW, which were built by Wegman and Duwag between 1966 and 1971. The 6E GTW is the sole fully unidirectional tram, while the 6Z GTW has doors on both sides. Interestingly, most of the 6Z GTWs have their doors on the left side of the tram blocked, as well as the rear cabin removed. Only one 6Z GTW is still bidirectional. Most of the 6Z GTWs and the sole 6E GTW are second-hand trams from Kassel in Germany. However, two 6Z GTWs have had a period where they functioned as a museum tram in Amsterdam, before returning to active service in Gorzów. You can find these old machines mostly online too, as turning loops are available on both ends here. The sole bidirectional 6Z GTW can make its appearance on other lines of the network. The tram type that is around 10 times younger is the PESA Twist. The specific variant for Gorzów is designated as 2015N. They are 24 meter long bidirectional trams, which were delivered to Gorzów in 2019. So, what does the future hold for this tram system? Gorzów Wielkopolski is planning on giving the nearly 60-year-old 6Z GTW and 6E GTW their much reserved and needed retirement. The new trams are already ordered and will again be bidirectional PESA Twists, the same type as already operated in Gorzów. 7 trams of this type will be delivered, while Gorzów will have the option to purchase 9 more. Those new trams will come in handy, as Gorzów is also planning on extending its tram system. The most serious one for now seems to be an extension of the short stop at Dworzec Główny, which would then get the stop at the central bus station before reconnecting with the line to Wieprznice. If all goes well, construction should start in 2026 or 2027. From the bus station to the intersection with the section to Wieprznice, this section will be double track. Then there are renovation works scheduled on the sections along Pomorska Street and Sikorskiego Street. This will also see the section along Sikorskiego Street become double track. Further project proposals seem to still be in the concept phase, and will likely only come back on the table once current projects are completed. And that's it for the tram system of Gorzów Wielkopolski. Click here to watch my video about the tram system of Elbląg. And as always, thank you for watching.